The sound of the Roland TR909 is without a doubt one of the most iconic and recognizable in the history of electronic music in genres such as techno, house, and trance. Introduced way back in 1983 as a sequel to the TR-808, the TR-909, combining both true analog and sample sounds, found its place in countless albums and tracks of artists such as Aphex Twin, Jeff Mills, and Bjork, just to name a few. According to Roland, only 10,000 units were ever produced, and if you try to lay your hand on one of these beasts on eBay or Reverb today, prices can reach up to $6,000 depending on the condition of the unit. Now, I don't own or ever had the TR909, and I actually use the Roland TR8S, which I think is pretty close in sound with its ACB models and technology. So I'm really not an expert about the Roland TR909. I only know the basic facts about it. And the purpose of this video today is not to tell you something new. Today I wanted to take the advantage of Reason Combinator to try to create an emulation inside of Reason of the Roland TR909 just for fun and to give it away for free to you, my subscribers and followers. Before I tell you how to go and download and use it, I wanted to give you some walkthrough and overview of how I created this preset inside of Reason. Okay, so here we are inside of Reason 12, and this is the Combinator preset for the Roland TR909. Now, if you don't know what a Combinator is, it's basically, as the name suggests, and let me pull one over here, a way to combine a few of Reason rec into one device and saving it as a preset. Beside that, you can also fully customize the Combinator to control different aspects and different features of the recs that inside it. So for example, if I take and I put here a mixer, and then I will put maybe the Europa synthesizer. Now all of this connected together, and I can save it as a preset, and I can come here and modify the controls, add more buttons, and assign and map them back to the Combinator. So when I move a parameter here, it's actually controlling the rec inside the Combinator. Now that is obviously a brief explanation of the Combinator. And if you want to know more about it, let me know in the comment and I might make another video on that in the future. Okay, so let's delete this one for now as we're not going to need it and go back to the TR909 preset. So let me expand the preset so I can show you how exactly I created this and the rec that I included inside. Now, I wanted to make sure that when I give it to you for free, you will also be able to open the same devices and have the same sound the way I set it up here. So I've used Reason stock recs and also Reason stock samples for that purpose. And the base of this preset is the amazing Redrum, which is, in my opinion, one of the best virtual drum machine. It's super simple and easy to program, has the most basic and needed elements to tweak for each drum, and also has a really good sequencer. And despite all the options that we have today in Reason or other VSTs, I always find myself going back to Redrum as I feel this is one of Reason's most intuitive and fun and inspiring drum rec to interact with. Let's expand all the recs and let me show you how I actually connected and routed the devices here and what is the structure. So as I mentioned, this is all based on Redrum, and Redrum here is connected to the mixer. The reason I wanted to connect to the mixer and not directly to the Combinator is because I wanted to add some send effects such as reverb and delay, which I'm adding here as a send. And I'm also sending out from Redrum into the mixer so I can control the send for each drum sound directly from Redrum through these knobs over here. So what this is actually doing is chaining the send of the built-in mixer to the Redrum send option. And for the reverb and delay, I used the old, very simple reverb and delay from Reason. Again, because I find them very effective, and I also kind of still like their sound, to be honest, even though they're very simple, not that much capable. But there's something about them, there's some charm about them that I like to reuse even nowadays. Looking again at the back side, so from the mixer, I'm routing into Scream, which is Reason rec for distortion, adding some lo-fi sounds. And here I'm using it with the tape preset to add some character and roughness to the sound of the drums. On top of that, I'm also connecting here from Scream into Pulverizer, which is another great way to add character to your sound through adding some dirt and also a bit of compression over here. And just to make it a bit more fun, I also added here a filter. Again, the very basic filter from Reason and phaser rec. And what I'm doing here, so every time the filter and the phaser are active, I'm also adding to the chain an EQ to reduce the low frequencies. Because when we're using the filter and the phaser, I felt like there is some boost on the low frequencies, so I wanted to balance it with the simple equalizer here from Reason. At the top of the chain, I added a maximizer that also acting as a limiter. And the last piece is the master bus compressor, just to glue everything together and make the sound more rounded. In terms of control on the preset itself, we have here a knob to control the patterns here. So if you see when I turn this knob, it's actually changing the patterns. And I included here some basic patterns that I created, but obviously you can go and change all the patterns to yours and just control them from this knob for live performance and tweaking. For the samples, I used Reason stock samples, which I think are quite good. But you can obviously also change those to your favorite samples. Let me turn the volume a bit down. So we have here the bass drum, the snare drum, a clap, a rim shot, a crash cymbal, some toms, of course close and open hi-hat, and the right cymbal. And I tried to pick the samples that I felt work best together and also tweak them in a way that I felt working well together. Now on the on the original Roland TR909, there was an accent button that increased the dynamic of velocity between the low velocity and the high velocity note. And to mimic that, what I did here is I mapped all the velocity knob over here of all the drums into this specific knob. So when we tweak it, all of them change. Now I had to apply some limit to the range because I felt it was too much if I just give it the full range. And you could do that from the editor. When you select control, you can actually define the range over here. Moving on to the bass drum, we have the basic control here, very similar to the TR909, to change the tune, the level, the attack level, and also the decay. Now the reed drum doesn't have the attack level on specifically on this drum one, so I attached the attack to the tone one, as I felt it's very similar in sound to the effect of increasing the attack. The snare drum over here is very similar with the difference that it also has a snappy control, which is again controlling here the tone, which basically increased the higher frequencies of the sample. The rim shot kept it here very simple and a bit more similar to the original 909 with only controls of level for the rim shot and the hand clap. On the hi-hat over here, we have a control for the decay for the closed hi-hat and also decay for the open hi-hat and a global tune, which again controlling both of the tune of both of these drums. So they are both mapped into one knob. Very simple effect, one reverb, one delay, control of the size of the reverb and also the feedback of the delay. And to tie it all together, I have a section here with dynamic effect to add some dirt, control the volume, adding some tape compression and also sub compressor to glue it all together. And over here, I added a knob and a control for the filters. Okay, enough talking. Let's hear a bit. How does it actually sound? Yeah, so this is basically it. I really hope you're gonna enjoy this preset and make some music with that. And let me know in the comment what you think overall. Now I'm giving this preset completely for free, and you can get it from my online shop on Gumroad, and I will post the link in the description. You don't need to put any money, just put zero. If you do want to support my channel, you can choose however you want to pay, but you don't need to pay anything. Just put zero and check out, and you will be able to download it. Once you download it, just unzip and open it inside Reason, inside a Combinator, and it should work fine. I really hope you enjoyed watching this and gonna have some fun with the preset. And if you do get to make some music with it, don't forget to share it in the comments, as I would love to hear those too. I will also put here and here somewhere a link to previous Combinator preset that I have created in the past and you might enjoy as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and I will see you next time.